next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Weekdays from 4 till 6. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. This is going to be our final segment of the afternoon here on the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Coach Brian Haddad, the Bone Crusher, and we've got some special guests in the building with us and one on the phone line. I'll give you the pleasure and the honor of introducing our guests here, Coach.
Absolutely. They're back in the ring, if you will. The Pharaoh sitting across from us, of course, and Monte and the Pharaoh is the show, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, Cablevision, YouTube, Facebook. These guys are everywhere. Mike, you on the line with us there?
I'm here. Thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. Lot to get into, so we'll get right to it quickly. Elimination Chamber coming up this week. Last event before WrestleMania. Coming to us from down under, Perth, Australia this time. Obviously, the Elimination Chamber's become a unique event in and of itself. This event, is that what we're looking forward to, or is this truly going to be the Rhea Ripley show back in her home country?
Prequel. I mean, we're looking forward to it, but it's really the prequel to the big one, which is coming, obviously, WrestleMania. But, yeah, this is going to be the Rhea Ripley show. Why wouldn't it be? It should be. Wait a minute. What about Grayson Waller? How dare you? Wait a minute. But, yeah, of course it's going to be the Rhea show. No, and it should be.
Yep.
She's the biggest female star in the business in my book. Sorry, Becky. But we'll take care of that at WrestleMania now, won't we?
That's right.
Yeah.
Monty, we expect any surprises, or is it going to be pretty straightforward setting up WrestleMania?
I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I do question who the sixth member or the sixth contestant will be on the ladies' side. Don't know if it's going to be Jade. I hope it wouldn't be. And on the men's side, again, I'll throw it out there, stupid me, but is there a possibility The Rock forces his way into the Elimination Chamber so he can wrestle Seth Rollins at WrestleMania? Don't know, but I'll throw it out there.
Well, the wonderful transition. That's why you guys are the professionals that you are here. We're going to go straight from that into what has been the biggest story in wrestling, and it's crossed over to mainstream. The Rock back in the mix. Now, I'm going to very cliff notes this for our listeners who maybe aren't into this. The Rock comes back in. He's going to take on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Fan uproar.
I'll have none of it.
As The Rock calls it, the Cody crybabies get on the internet. And now Cody's going to face Roman again, but Rock is still there. So here's the question I want to ask both of you guys. Obviously, the fans were in an uproar over this. My question to you is, do you think changing back to Cody versus Roman, obviously Rock's going to play a factor, do you think that was truly a reaction pivot, or how much of this do you think may have actually been built in from the beginning?
I think it was a reaction pivot, and I also think that it was smart of them to do this, because you can't have The Rock come in as a good guy that the fans don't want going after Roman Reigns. Could you imagine the program for the next 2 months where he's trying to be the good guy and the fans are just screaming for Cody? That's bad TV.
That's right.
So I think that it was a pivot. Now, the worst part about this all is that Roman has to walk out of WrestleMania champion. Otherwise, my partner's never going to watch wrestling again. Mike?
I wanted to ask you about that, Monty. Go for it.
I tell you what, first of all, angry that the fans took control of this.
Yep.
And Jimmy, and you were right, this was a pivot. But Friday night, will we have to pivot again? Because a lot of cheers for The Rock on Friday night. If we continue to get The Rock that's playing into the crowd, are we going to have another pivot? With you, I really am hoping and praying that Roman retains that title at WrestleMania, because I will stop watching wrestling.
We can't have
that. That is it.
The show must go on. What is this? You're not going to watch wrestling? They scripted it wrong. I'm out of here. What are you doing? We can't have that. We can't have that.
Monte Pharaoh presents fishing. We'll discuss fishing.
College softball?
I love it.
There we go.
All right. So, and David actually caught something in watching this. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But Look, The Rock is obviously a mainstream star. He's got a career in Hollywood. You can be a heel in wrestling, but you don't want to be a heel in Hollywood. So
Right.
obviously because he can play the heel role doesn't mean he needs to carry that forward. So a lot of people speculating that, The Rock going to kind of turn on Roman. Maybe Roman turns on The Rock. They're dropping little, Easter eggs, things like that. How do we expect this to play out going forward? Do we expect, like I said, The Rock to turn on Roman, Roman to turn on The Rock? What do we expect over the next 6 to 8 weeks?
I think you better keep your eyes on Seth Rollins. Because after all, Seth Rollins is going to be Cody's Shield. Now, who was the Shield?
Yeah.
Roman Reigns.
Seth Rollins.
And that guy who's getting underpaid and overworked in AEW.
That's right.
So basically, I'd say keep your eyes out on Seth Rollins.
That's an interesting
And as
theory.
far as The Rock going bad, and now he's getting some cheers, and I agree with Mike, he is getting some cheers. All this is a reminder that when The Rock was a bad guy all those years ago, he got cheers.
Yeah.
The Rock is going to get cheered by the people who love him one way or the other.
That's
Yeah.
right.
The fans are just Cody crybabies. We've seen this before with the Daniel Bryan babies and then the Kofi Kingston apologists. This has happened before.
I like this.
Yeah.
You just
No, it's good.
set him up and knock him down.
Yeah. So, Mike, let me pitch it to you. So they had the scene the other night where they were all in the ring together, and they're throwing up the ones. David noticed that Heyman put it up with the left hand.
Yeah,
I don't know
everyone
if
else
that
had up their
means
right
something.
hand, and I was just curious if people
But-
follow it a little more closer.
But the one they're all talking about is The Rock putting it up with the thumb out, almost like the L. There were a couple times he talked about what everybody thought were the Cody crybabies, but he would look at Roman and the bloodline. Are they setting up? Are they brewing? Are they cooking something for The Rock, if you will?
Take it, Mike.
So, in my thought, it's up, right? Guys like you, me, we all saw that. And we're like, are they setting up Roman?
Yeah.
I have to go back to the business portion of it. There's so much more out of this with the bloodline continuing on, adding members. I love Jimmy's idea, bringing Seth Rollins into the mix.
Yeah.
Cody fails again, and here we go, and we just keep going. I'm going to stand by. You invested all this time for Roman Reigns to pass Hulk Hogan's record. If you're going to let it end at WrestleMania, the show ends. It stops and it ends. I have to hold on hope.
Yeah, the Seth thing is a wonderful thing to do because the best things in wrestling are the things that happen and they surprise us, and then we go, God, I should have seen that coming.
Yes.
Seth and Cody have no love for each other.
None.
Seth is 0-3 versus Cody,
I'm not
lost
buying
every
this.
meaningful
Yeah.
thing. This would be phenomenal. I think we're onto something.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. I don't care how it happens. Cody, hashtag Cody lose at WrestleMania. That's what we're going to be pushing out.
The question is, does the rubber chicken come back for a second year in a row? That's my question. Let me get into this, too. I really, obviously, again, we talked about it before, Monte and the Pharaoh. My favorite show to watch on this, Cablevision, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. You guys have had a lot of big-time guests on recently. John Cena Sr. just recently.
Did you see him?
Actually,
You can
well,
see
that's
senior.
the
There you
father.
go.
I can see the father.
Well,
It's the son we can't
that's
see.
right.
I mean, you know what they say when someone's standing in front of the TV,
Yeah.
your daddy wasn't a glass maker or whatever. I didn't know if maybe John Cena had
Yeah.
gotten that from his dad. So.
Yeah,
But
no, he was
before
visible.
that-
Oddly enough, he
Before
was.
that, I mean, you cover in all times Baby Doll. I mean, you going back to the great days of the early 80s and through the 80s. Eugene,
Yeah.
who was a big staple for WWE
Sure.
and obviously on the independents. I'll start with you first, Mike. What is it like, as a fan, kind of being able to bring some of these big names in, not just currently, but from the past, and kind of talk wrestling with them?
Well, just like being on your show, it's a privilege and an honor, right? So as fans, to be recognized as one of the top interviewers out there via the internet and not being a famous wrestler, it is certainly humbling. To be fair, though, and Jimmy and I speak about this often, in the beginning we were fans, we were in awe, but somewhere along the line it's changed, right? There's still the respect, there's still the honor, but we sit across them and it's just another human being speaking to another human being about their professional career, and that's what it's become. Still an honor, but totally different situation.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. I mean, in the beginning, I was probably Captain Mark of all marks, you know. but once you see Marty Jannetty pop out of the bathroom dropping his pants and stuff, that kind of ruins everything, you know. You no longer look at them like, you know, wow, he's a rocker. It's more like, wow, he's annihilated. You kind of change towards the business. So there is some second guessing along the way, but then again, it is still a privilege, like Mike said, and I'm just glad that we've been able to continue on for these bunch of years and give the fans so many different guests.
Do you find that it's a weird question to ask, that the guys who are more involved now, it's more corporate, so they're going to be a little more guarded? Mm-hmm. The guys from, you know, the 70s and 80s, you would expect to be a little more free with things, but kayfabe was a thing where they protected the business. Right. Do you find that one group more than the other is willing to give you kind of the real inside scoop on how things are, or?
Well, the ones who currently work for Vince, you can't get near. Well, Vince doesn't work there anymore, but the ones who are currently under WWE contract, you really can't get near to begin with. The ones who have blown all their money, I think you're talking about the veterans here. The ones who have blown all their money, of course their guard is dropped. They've probably reached out to WWE a bunch of times, gotten nowhere, and they're willing to say anything. Gee, what a shock.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it depends on the guest, really.
Yeah.
We need to get these guys involved with Wrestling Against Cancer 9 somehow, some way, which is going to be at April 27th at Bayhaven Charter Academy. I'll be doing the announcing for that. So, and I'm not. It's a fun event, and it's for a good cause. Jack Patterson puts that on. If you'd be willing to help out Jaden with his cancer medical expenses, reach out to Jack Patterson on Facebook. Still looking for some sponsors for that. Wrestling Against Cancer 9. Put it in your calendar now. April 27th, starting at 5:30 to 9:30. So,
probably got about a minute left. Mike, this week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, who am I going to be watching on Monte and the Pharaoh?
Well, Monte is flying to the Keys.
Attaboy.
So you will be watching the great Jimmy Farrell along with the fill-in ESO Creative, and those two entertain, and they do a great job, so you'll see them.
Outstanding. Well, can't wait for you to get back. And real quick, guys, predictions. The Elimination Chamber matches themselves. Who do we expect to win? We'll start with you,
one-word answers.
Real quick.
Drew McIntyre.
Roman Reigns.
All right. Great stuff. Coach James Hill shows live at 7 in the morning. The Inside Drive will be back with you guys tomorrow at 11 in the afternoon. Underdogs back at 4. Just remember, have a great day. Jesus loves you, and so do I.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the most college basketball.
Three-pointer. College basketball is back.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
The SEC, ACC, and beyond.